This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Mike Sedita.
Hello out there. Welcome to episode 115 of the Good Neighbor Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Sedita. I'm located here in Pasco County, Florida. And with me today, my guest is Rondi Guess. He's with Florida Executive Realty. He is a realtor here in the Tampa market. Rondi, how you doing today?
Good, Mike. Thanks for letting me come on the show with you and spend time with you. I'm doing really good. Happy Halloween, by the way.
Happy Halloween. See, now you're breaking down the fourth wall. You're like Deadpool. This might not air until Thanksgiving. No, I don't know when it's going to air, but it is right. Halloween when we're recording the podcast, which is cool. And I already bought a little thing of candy. I don't know if I get a lot of trick-or-treaters. We're in a new place where I'm living, so we'll see how it pans out. But the nice thing about that is if they don't come, then I just eat it and everybody wins except my waistline. So just so you know, we met at a sort of like a real estate show. And I told you a little bit about the Good Neighbor Podcast. But in case you're not fully familiar with what we do, how we do it, essentially the Good Neighbor Podcast started in 2020 during COVID when everybody had to be socially distant. You were doing everything with masks and outside and being 6 feet apart. And it was set up as a way for people in the community who own businesses and do charitable work and are involved in the community to get their message to the community. And over the last 3 years, the Good Neighbor Podcast has evolved into a national brand. We have podcasts in Colorado, Georgia, Virginia, all up and down the East Coast. And I'm fortunate enough to be the person here in Tampa that gets to have conversations with business owners and entrepreneurs like you. So with that said, tell us a little bit about what you do at Florida Executive Realty.
Yeah, so I'm a realtor, licensed, and I've been doing real estate. I've been with my brokerage for about 10 years at Florida Executive. I've had my license full time for about 6 years, and I've just been doing real estate consulting, marketing, and sales services for my clients for the past several years. When I started here, I started off in helping out with marketing and managing and assisting other realtors grow their business. And after a short time, I said, I could probably do this. And I thought it was a good idea to jump in feet first and move forward with my real estate career.
So let me ask you this: Florida Executive Realty, if you had to put a percentage on it, what percent do you do any commercial realty, or are you just strictly a residential guy?
I'm strictly residential. We have a commercial division, and there's guys that in our brokerage that they specifically focus on the commercial side. Even on the rental side, we have a property management division, and we have property managers that actually maintain the rental aspects of maintaining a property for clients in the property management division. Now, I work with renters, I work with buyers and sellers. I even have people that are talking to me about commercial opportunities. My goal is to try to, take care of that clientele, and if I can get them connected with that professional commercial realtor, then that's who I try to connect them with.
So if you're selling somebody's house and he says, "Hey, Rondi, I actually own a multifamily 6-unit building," you then have to pass that off to your commercial team, and I'm assuming you get some sort of referral vig or something like that for doing so.
Yeah, for the right piece of the business, there are some multifamily units out there that are still being sold as residential opportunities. So I can effectively work with multifamily units. The commercial end of warehousing and things like that, finding big
like light industrial.
Yeah. So that's where those come in.
So let me ask you this: doing mostly residential, your book of business, what percentage would you say is listings versus are you dealing with buyers? Are you driving all over the place, or are you going and doing meetings with families to get their house?
I do a little bit of everything. If you look up my record, you really see kind of a 50-50 going on. I work with a lot of buyers. I would say that on average, I probably work more with buyers, but sometimes buyers are long-term projects. So you do have buyers that are waiting for that opportunity for them to come into the market and get ready to make those purchases, and you're working with them and nurturing them and helping them as they're moving along. The listing side, if you're ready to list, you're pretty much ready to go. Otherwise, you do some consulting to get them to that point, and then you move forward. So I'm really 50-50.
And well, I have a follow up to that, and where are you based out of? Where is your office for Florida Executive Realty? And then what is your territory? I mean, will you go as far as St. Pete? Will you go as far as Spring Hill? I mean, you go where the business is, but do you have a territory you prefer to work?
Yeah, so I live in Valrico, which is a suburb of Brandon. It means Rich Valley, and it's a really nice community in the Brandon area. I'm a born and raised native from Tampa, Florida. So
you're that guy. You're the guy.
Yeah. I'm the guy. This is my territory. So when you talk about territory, it's interesting because some people will say, "Well, this is my territory," and I get that. It's important to specialize, especially in areas that you're close to, so you can connect with your clientele in a nearby area. But I just sold a piece of property in Valrico. I sold a 55 and plus condo in St. Pete. A lot of my business came from Pasco County over the past couple of years, where I've sold a couple of homes, actually more than a couple of homes up in that area. So I'll go with businesses. I went and showed a house down in Bradenton. I sold a house in Orlando. So I mean, I've consulted on property up in Jacksonville. Florida is my hometown, and as a realtor, sometimes it takes a little more work and effort to get to know areas and how to best give clientele the best advice. But I'm willing to take the next steps to find out as much information as I can to take care of my clients. And sometimes those clients, they may choose to use a local, like my friends in Jacksonville, they may choose to use a local representative, but I spent time with them, and I went through the process of telling them these are the things that need to take place before you can even list the property. And we went up to Jacksonville, and we spent time there, and I spent time on their property. And so my area, I don't want to say I'm an expert in right where I'm at. I'm an expert wherever I get the opportunity to go and serve people.
Yeah, I think that kind of comes from, it's a full disclosure. So I've had a real estate license since 1995. I passed a real estate licensure in Georgia in 1995. So I've had my real estate license. I have done it. I think where the thought process behind that comes in is, listen, we're business people, right? We go where the business is. Everybody gets that. I think the area, though, comes from, if you're trying to farm an area and get listings in that area, you want to be familiar. You got to, listen, I can go to MLS and look up the schools and understand what schools go where and do all that stuff. But if I live in an area and hey, look, this is a decent area, and I know there's certain stuff you can say and certain stuff you can't say with compliance about the neighborhood and the makeup and all that. But actually knowing the schools in an area where you have a bunch of listings makes that much more conversationally easy. And knowing contractors in that area for buyers when they're moving in, to need a plumber, you got a guy, an electrician, you got a guy. So that's why I usually ask, is there a suite? Like, listen, if I said to you, I can give you 20 listings, you're obviously going to want those 20 listings somewhere near where you're at, as opposed to one in St. Pete, one in Spring Hill, one in West Cap, right? So so that's why I asked that kind of farming question, but I get exactly what you're saying.
Oh, yeah, and I farm. Yeah, I farm in my area. There's more farming going on in my area than I'll send cards to places like St. Pete where I made a sale, but my investment's going to be close to home, because there is a greater connection to people that are wanting to move in that area, and they're going to be like, why do you want me to move into that area? Why is Valrico a great place to live? And there's a lot of people in our area that want to live in Riverview, and I'm going to be showing some houses down in Riverview tomorrow. Right. And Riverview is a great place to be. It's right in the heart of everything. But if you just want to be just on the outside and almost be in like a country-esque kind of area, Brandon has those places and Valrico has those places. And so you're 5 minutes away from places like Riverview, and then Riverview takes you everywhere else. So.
Well, I will tell you, I was before we started recording here today, I was down in Apollo Beach, and I hadn't really been into Apollo Beach. And along 41 there in Apollo Beach, I mean, there's a Del Webb community down there. I mean, there's some beautiful, beautiful stuff down there. I'm just not, and it's going to sound stupid being in Florida, I'm not necessarily a beach guy. Like, I like to go to the beach, but there are people that literally they get anaphylaxis if they're not near a beach within like a certain amount of space. I'm not that guy, but I mean, that area down there is really nice. I mean, it's definitely a crazy real estate market right now, which we'll get into a little bit of that. But for your story, I mean, when you were a young guy and you were playing on the playground, kickball or dodgeball, depending on how old you are, if you could still play dodgeball.
Absolutely.
Did you always want, I mean, I see the gray hair. I got it too. So I got you. Did you always want to be a real estate agent, or did you have hopes and dreams of doing, did you want to be an opera singer and just that fell through and you decided you were going to go fall into real estate? How did you get here?
Well, I mean, if we're going to talk about, if I'm going to, I would say that if I was going to be a singer, I'd want to do the blues more than anything, man.
Okay, I can see that. I can see that.
I'm a blues man. I love all genres of music, but I love the blues. When I was younger, as a matter of fact, it's funny. I wanted to be a trash man when I was a kid.
Really?
I love watching the guys in the back of the trucks back in the day.
It was like a fireman and then a garbage man. It was fireman and then garbage man. They all hung on the back of a truck.
Yeah, exactly. And I was a junker. Bringing home stupid stuff to my mom when I was a kid. When it goes right down to it, I mean, from the very youngest parts of my time in life, it goes back to my desire to help people. And I'm not saying that just as a cliche. In all sincerity, when I was in high school, I was going to get my degree in psychology. I took psych classes. When I got out of high school, I still wanted to help people, and I ended up getting my master's degree about 10 years ago from Liberty University in theology to be able to, again, to help people. So, I've got my bachelor's and master's degree in religion and theology. And because I am a Christian, I believe in that there's a creator and he has a plan for me. I didn't think his plan would necessarily be real estate, but one thing that I have done is I've been able to minister to people on a level that I probably would have never been able to do even as a minister. There's things that you can do when you minister to people, even like you and I talking today, having a one-on-one conversation. This is the kind of ministry I like to do, by the way. I like to be able to communicate with people one-on-one.
Yeah, me too.
And have those relationships. And so I really appreciate that. But when it comes right down to it, being able to help clients, that's what goes back to what I wanted to do when I was younger, is help people. And I've been helping people. I mean, it's amazing how much I do to minister to not just friends and family, but clients. Clients need a lot of ministry.
Sellers need therapy. Sellers need TLC and therapy. Listen, I get
it. Absolutely. One of my previous clients, and I'll try to keep it short. Her husband had just died. She came down here to help him out. In the middle of all this, she had gotten a car accident many years ago and needed major hip surgery. She got hip surgery. In the middle of all that, that's when she started looking for her home sweet home in Florida. And as we started looking at homes, I talked her into living in a 55 plus community in St. Petersburg, which is 10 minutes away from the beach, 5 miles down the road. And she's been wanting to live near the beach in St. Pete since 1982.
See, she's one of those people.
And absolutely. And I was able to not only help her find her home, but in the course of all this, befriend her. Because of her surgery, I had to take her to medical doctors and things like that too. For a month and a half, I was just tending to her needs. And, all of that's, you think to yourself, well, you get a payday at the end of the day. we joke about it. She goes, Rondi, she goes, you're not even making minimum wage with taking care of me. But it was a time to take care of her and minister to her needs during that time.
I will tell you one of the best stories from my real estate. I didn't like real estate. Okay. Full disclosure. I did not like it. I mean,
I understand that.
It's hard work. I mean, not that I don't like hard work, but I mean, the thing about it that got me where I got out of real estate. Okay. I'll tell you why I got out, and I'll tell you the best story. I got out of real estate because I was showing a house to a family that I begged them not to bring their young children with them. They brought their kids with them. The kids ran through the yard, got all muddied up, and while we were showing the living room, came sprinting in and dragged mud through the house of this people's listing. It gave me such anxiety that watching the footprints go on, I could still, if I close my mind's eye and see it, I could still see the mud sprinkling, right? So at that point, I'm like, I just can't do it. Like, I had to pay for the carpet to get cleaned. I had to do all this stuff. And that's what got me out of doing it day to day. But the best story ever, single mom calls my real estate office. And I tried doing a bigger firm. I didn't like to have to pass off commercial and pass off this and pass off that. I wanted to do it all.
Right.
And I did. I did some investment properties. I did rental properties. I did residential, all that stuff for a small little broker, 1-2 mom and pop type shop. I'm in the office late one night. Single mom calls and said, hey, do you guys have any rental properties? I said, we don't right now. Have a little bit of a conversation with her and basically explained to her, she's a first-time home buyer. She didn't need a lot of money down. This is like 1996-ish.
Oh, yeah.
And helped this single mom buy a 3-2 ranch for her and her daughter. Her payment was less than her rent was. She only needed to come up with like $2,000 down because, I mean, it was a different economy back then.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I mean, it was only a $68,000 house or somewhere in that range, whatever. And to put somebody who was calling for a rental property down on their luck into something that they could build equity and have a life with, that was the greatest part about being in real estate for me. But I couldn't do the shoes and the crazy. I couldn't do it. And you had mentioned earlier in the podcast about, the buyers that you have to cultivate and do all this. Those are the worst. Listen, I'll say it. I'm not in real estate anymore. Those are the worst human beings on the planet. They are the worst. Okay. Listen, you do not need to see 75 properties. Give me what you're looking for.
I've been there.
I can narrow it down to 5. So those are the worst buyers. Those are the people you have to fire because they're also the people that are going to drive you all over your hometown of Florida and then decide to go with another person because they think they're going to save 2% by using crazy. Listen, don't even get me started about the things I don't like about the real estate business because it is hard. That's why when I talk to people that are good at it, like I did a presentation the other day, right? To a room full of realtors. And I was frank with them. I said, I talk to realtors all day. There are people who are practicing real estate.
Yeah.
There are realtors. And then there are people that are good at practicing real estate. Which category do you all fall in? And you know which one you fall. Listen, if you're just getting started, you're just practicing. You don't even know if you're good at it yet. You don't even know how to necessarily do it. The real estate exam is about passing the exam. Real estate school is about passing the exam. It
Absolutely.
has nothing to do with telling you how to sell real estate. So when people are good at it and understand it and have that connection, it's super important. So in the particular climate we're in, what is the big thing that you're running into with buyers and sellers? I mean, the interest rate is the elephant in the room for everybody. Sellers don't want to sell because they're in a 2% mortgage and they don't want a 7% mortgage. Buyers don't want to buy because they're afraid the rate is too high and like it's never going to go down again. So what are you doing to overcome some of those misconceptions? Are you working with mortgage guys to do buy downs? Are you, explaining to them that they need to date the rate and marry the house? Like, what are you using to get over some of those misconceptions?
And that's really kind of what you're running into. I'm talking to clientele that they are concerned that if they buy now, the interest rate's going to be really high. And one of the ways I've been able to convince actually kind of very few people is that we anticipate, and I'm in communication with my lenders on a consistent basis. We anticipate that the interest rates are going to come down at some point. And my argument to buyers, and if there's buyers listening right now, my argument to you right now is that if you're looking to buy, you need to do it right now. If you're able to buy, you need to do it right now. And the reason why is because, yes, we're looking at 8% interest rates at this time, more or less. What's going to happen is when those interest rates drop down to a reasonable value, and that's going to be probably your 5 or 6%, not 4 and 3. It's been over 50 years.
That was
and
an
we've
anomaly.
never seen those numbers ever.
Those 2 and 3% things were anomaly. It was COVID. It was.
Yep.
I mean, it's never. We're never going back. I mean, I've
Not
never
our
said never.
lifetime.
We're not going back to that.
Right. So when those numbers drop down, everybody that's waiting for those numbers to drop down are going to flood the market. We're already seeing the prices and the values of home. Now we're seeing them sit on the market a little bit longer, but we're already seeing the value of those homes continuing to increase. The media's been telling you for months that the prices of homes are going to drop. Everything's going to fall out. The sky's falling. They're going up.
Yeah.
And the right homes are still getting multiple offers, by the way. So people are listing their homes if they're listing at the right values. The ones that are sitting are the ones that are still thinking, I'm going to be able to get $100,000 more than what this house is worth. That's the ones that are sitting, or it has a problem. At 8%, it stinks. But if next year you can refi and knock off a $600 to $1,000 a month off your payment, you're already paying less than the rent that you're going to be charged.
Right.
And that's what we're trying to let these sellers, the buyers know. For sellers, I was talking to my son the other day, and they got in at 3.25. We were able to get at 2.85. Yes, those numbers are crazy. You don't want to walk away from those. However, if you're willing to take the next step, those houses at 3%, you rent those houses out, and you get as much money out of the equity, out of the rentals as possible.
Go get your next.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You'll probably be able to pay your next mortgage if you plan it right, just because of you're taking advantage of an extremely low interest rate that's never going to happen again, and you get to buy. By the way, you're probably going to buy your next step house.
Right.
You're probably going to be buying a dream house, so you're going to be moving up.
Right.
And you're gonna have that income coming in from your rental now that not only is going to pay for that entire mortgage, but you're going to be making money off of it.
So we talked about the real estate market. We talked about, clearly your professionalism, comes through when you talk about what's going on in this current state. Other than singing the blues, what do you like to do for fun?
Well, I have a family, and one of my favorite things about my family is I've been with my wife for close to 20 years. We have kids from the age of 13 to 28. We have 4 kids. So we have some that are going through school and working through that. My 2 little girls are the youngest. They like to do dance, so we're involved in their lives. One of my sons just graduated. My other son's out on his own. He's doing a great job of maintaining his life and career and growing in that. So there's a lot of home life there. One of the things over the past year, because my kids have gotten older, is that me and my wife actually go on dates now.
Okay.
In 20 years of being married, we've very rarely gone out. We used to make fun of this, but we'd go out on a date night and we ended up at Walmart. That was our date night, and we go to Walmart and get the necessities for the home. The other night we went to dinner. We've been able to go to a few concerts this past year. I mean,
okay, so let me ask you. I don't mean to interrupt you. I want to understand date night. Concerts is one thing. Everybody kind of gets up and goes to this concert. When you guys do a dinner date night, is it just, hey, honey, let's throw on some sweats and go roll to Outback? Or is it, you're going to get dressed up, I'm going to get dressed up, we're going to go to a place that's, not that Outback is bad, but, we're going to go to a place that's a little, maybe not Burns, but there's something in between Burns and Outback. Do you guys get dressed up and make it like an event? Or is it just kind of just to get out of the house and do stuff together? So
there have been a few opportunities where we've gotten dressed up to go to those events. In regards to dinner, usually we'll dress halfway decent, we'll dress nice, and we'll go have a nice dinner together. But one of the things that we do is, as a realtor, sometimes you have these these events, and we've gone kind of overboard. I'll get the hat, I'll get the dress up, I'll get decked up to the nines like I'm the mafia, and you're trying to look slick as you're going to your dinner, and it's not that anybody's really kind of preparing for those things, but I was like, you know what, if we're going to do this, let's go have fun. So, I mean, one year my wife, she dressed like in this adorable kind of flappers, 1920s kind of outfit. Okay. And I was doing the whole mafioso hat and
you were
tie.
Doing like a Prohibition, Boardwalk Empire type setup. Okay, like Nookie Thompson.
Yeah, absolutely. We're having fun with it. So yeah, we like to dress up. We like to do crazy stuff. Even my girls' functions, we dress up for those. I dress up, and I got my pink brimmed hat with the white pink. I don't mind wearing pink. So we like to go out and do stuff. And we got pets too, by the way. We got 3 dogs, 3 dogs, 3 cats, 4 chickens, and a rabbit. And so, we got all.
What hours do you guys keep the petting zoo open?
Exactly. The cool thing is, my wife she already is this incredible, hardworking person who takes care of me and our family. But she spends a lot of her time taking care of those animals. She loves those animals. She always wanted chickens. So a couple of years ago, and we don't live in a big piece of property. We have a modest home in a neighborhood in Valrico, but we're allowed to have chickens there. So we got her some chickens, and I love those chickens too because they got funny personalities. But yeah, we have a little petting zoo, and it's a good life.
What do the neighbors think? Rondi, what do the neighbors think of your chickens in the front yard?
Well, occasionally they get a few eggs here and there thrown their way. So
all right. So that's not bad. You're paying them off in eggs.
No, yeah. No, most of them don't mind. As a matter of fact, a lot of them say we like to hear the chickens. We don't have a rooster.
Okay, so that's good.
It's funny. I heard a rooster this morning, a couple of houses down. So I'm like, okay, so there's more chickens in our neighborhood now. But we don't have a rooster, and the roosters are the ones that usually get loud. Our chickens, they make a little noise in the morning, but they're not loud. They're good chickens.
All right, so. And this is me being ignorant here, but how many eggs does a chicken produce? I mean, do they just randomly produce them throughout the week?
It's insane. It really is.
Really?
I never thought that I'd be getting an egg from one chicken almost every single day. I mean, we're getting 3 to 4 eggs every single day from these chickens.
How many? So you got about 3 to 4 chickens.
Yeah, we have 4 chickens, and we're on average when they're all laying, we get 4 eggs a day.
So here's my next question: are you making 3 egg omelets every day, or are you stockpiling them, paying off the neighbors with a couple here, and then having like a big Sunday breakfast?
So yeah, that's a good question. I'm doing the whole keto, trying to be a little bit healthier. So yeah, I'm doing a 3 to 4 egg omelet a day. My wife, she gets tired of eggs, but she'll do the eggs. We'll take care of her. And then when
they come off the assembly line, literally could crack them and eat them right out of the gate. You don't have to do anything special.
Yeah, we do a little scrub down, because they get dirty. But
I get it.
Yeah. So we crack them open and we eat them. And I'll tell you what. And people have said this. They taste different. It's actually hard to eat store-bought eggs.
Really? We're gonna have to have an egg exchange. We're gonna have to check some of that out. We'll have to figure it out.
They're good. They're good eggs.
So as we start to wrap this up, because we're kind of running out of time here.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
A little bit about, other than, listen, you're a theology guy, so the rewards for that happen later. The rewards in real estate happen current day with a salary, with an income and money coming in. The theology side, you'll get to that. Other than singing the blues, making eggs, what's the one thing people listening to this are going to say, hey, listen, we want to do business with this guy? What's the differentiator? So
I would say some of the main things is just the heart that I put into it, and helping people. I'm not, again, that's not a cliche. I have not only taken clients to hospital and doctor's appointments, I have taken care of my clients over and above what most people could ever possibly imagine. I've filled in holes in people's backyards with 2 tons of rock. I've been out there in the heat trying to take care of my clients and done landscaping and lawn work and helped with plumbing and all kinds of things. So when a client, and even people that aren't clients, when friends call and they ask for help, I try to be there for them. I had friends that nearly were on death's door during COVID, and I go over and mow their yard. I've done tree trimming. When it comes down to doing the business, a lot of realtors are the same. They're going to offer a lot of the same things. I'm not your Ron Popeil set it and forget it kind of guy. You stick the sign in the yard and you don't worry about it anymore. I'm going in there and I'm doing a pre-inspection on your home. I'm taking a look at things and saying, these are the problems you're going to find already with your inspections. We want to make sure those things are taken care of. I try to do evaluations, not just based on what's going on in the neighborhood, but based on what I think the appraisers are going to have. And then I'm going to have packages available for the appraisers when they come in and saying, this is the reason why we believe the value of the home is there. And that's just not on the listing side. That's on the buyer side as well, because we don't want the buyer get pushed out of a home that they had their heart set on because the valuation didn't come in where it needed to be. And so they got to come up, they're not able to buy it based on where the appraisal's at. I want to make sure that appraisal is strong so the buyer and the seller are taken care of at the end of the day. My goal is to negotiate for both buyer or seller. And at the end of the day, I want my buyer to be able to save as much money as possible. And I want my seller to be able to make as much money as possible. So, again, it's not just about being a realtor. It's about, helping others. I'm also a guy that likes humor, so I love making people laugh. We had a few laughs in this conversation, and I enjoy building others up and encouraging them. And I'm going to throw this. This is just, besides doing ministry, I wrestled. I don't think you're from Tampa, but I wrestled for this high school for 30, 40 years ago. But I wrestled for the Brandon High School Eagles, and they held the world record for the longest winning streak in sports history. And when I was on that team, I learned on not giving up, on giving everything you have, and blood, sweat, and tears, literally. And so in real estate, like you said, it's hard, man. Every single day it's hard, and it takes blood, sweat, and tears to go out there and do real estate. So I'm, besides everything you have in real estate, I do it. I do it all. Go ahead.
So what's the best? Yeah, that was about a 6-minute answer. That was one of the longest. You learned how to stretch out an answer for sure, Rondi.
That's theology.
Quickly, what's the best way for people to get a hold of you?
So you can reach me at my home and my cell number 813-919-9103, or you go to my all-encompassing webpage at myhometowntampabay.com. And it includes all kinds of activities going on in the Tampa Bay area and historical things, but also you can learn more about buying and selling your home and learn more about me at My Hometown Tampa Bay.
So folks, if you're listening to this, you're looking to buy or sell your home, definitely reach out to Rondi. He is going to give you spiritual guidance when you need it. He's going to sing the blues when you don't get as much for your house as you possibly hoped you might. He's also going to bring a lot of heart, a lot of entertainment, and be a helping hand when you're listing and when you're buying. His number is 813-919-9103 or myhometowntampabay.com. Rondi, thank you so much for being a good neighbor, and thank you so much for being on the Good Neighbor podcast. You have a great day, my friend.
You too, Mike. Thank you very much.
Thanks for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast Passcode. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnppasco.com. That's gnppasco.com, or call 813-922-3610.